and welcome to today's session. In today's session, we are going to talk on the topic of how to make decisions when we are confused. I think this is a very common scenario when we have two conflicting ideas and we are not sure of which one to pick up or which one to decide on. So here this session is going to help you in making or improving your decision making skills. So keep watching. Before we go on to see what are the steps in decision making, let's see some general concepts of why is decision making very important in our life. Obviously, decision making is an important skill and it can be even considered an art. No, it is not an easy process because what we decide today shapes our tomorrow or the future. Future depends on what decisions we take today. So decision making is a very, very important skill. We have to learn that. Of course, we all decide, we make decisions and we forward our life, but we are not sure of whether whatever decisions we have taken is the right one or wrong one. So we are not sure of our decisions. So my steps or this session will help you to make yourself assure that whatever you're deciding in your life is good for you. Okay, that's the purpose. The main purpose of this video is to make you understand that the decisions you make for you is always right. Now, let me tell you, after I have told you the importance of decision making, let me tell you like some important points which you have to remember while deciding. The first thing is the decisions can never be right or wrong. Okay, the right or wrong depends on the decision you take, the person who decides, and the environment where you live. It cannot be like if I and you are put in the same situation, that is the decision I take or what you decide will be totally different because I am a different personality, you are a different personality, and we all come from a different background, so we may not take the same decisions. So never think that if someone in your life has decided that and I should decide that. That's not possible because each one is different. So each decision making should be unique and different to the individuals. That's the important form. So you should be confident and be assured that whatever you decide is good for you. Now let's see the example. Like I was telling you, right? So decision making doesn't have anything right or wrong to do with that. For example, if you take Sachin Tendulkar, he decided to quit his education at the age of 15 or 16. Was he right at that point? No one could agree with, nor his parents or friends or the society could always say it was a wrong decision. How can a child quit his education at the age of 15 or 16? That was absolutely nonsense. That was a decision or that was the viewpoint of the public at that point. But when you ask today, he is being such a famous personality, his decision making skill of diverting his profession made him a successful person. So the decision making which we consider wrong at a particular time may turn out to be the right decision in the future. So this tells us that you should be confident in deciding whatever is right for you. Okay, so having said all this about decision making, let's move on to the steps in decision making. The first step is being fast in whatever you decide. I know my clients who take their own ample of time to decide something in their life. They take 1 year or 6 months or months together to decide something. And what happens the meanwhile? The opportunity which that was waiting for them has already gone. So don't take too much time in deciding whatever you want. The other option is you can put yourself some time limit, like that you can set that I will decide this in a month or 2 months or 6 months, whatever is your problem. Based on the problem, you can put your time limit so that your decision making skill is very fast and appropriate. Now let's see the second point. The second step is you have to be calm when you're deciding something. What do I mean by calmness? The calmness means you should not have any overexcited feelings or emotions. For example, if you are too much stressed out or too much anxious or angry, your decision making skill will be hindered. This is a very natural process. If I can put an example, you see, if you are deciding to have a relationship with a person or you are deciding to break up with a person, at that moment you're very angry and you're thinking only negatively about that person. If you want to decide at that moment, what happens? You will not see the positive side of the person and whatever decision you go about will be absolutely wrong. So don't take decisions when you're confused and also when you feel that some emotion is getting into you, like you're feared or you have angry or you have stressed out. Don't make decisions. Just leave yourself, give the time to yourself. Maybe you can go for a walkout, you can watch something which you love, just divert your mood, relax yourself, and then get back to the process of decision making. That is very useful. The third step is logical and emotional aspect in decision making. Now, let me explain this in very detail because this is a most important essential part in decision making. Logical thinking. Logical thinking means rationally thinking something. For example, if you got an opportunity or an issue or a problem, you think from the logical side. That's your brain. You start doing R&D, you analyze the situation, you find out the information. All this comes under the concept of logical thinking. Some people go with this logical thinking alone. There's the other set of people who go with emotional thinking. Emotional thinking means you think like, if I decide this, okay, of course, if I decide this, what will my parents think? What will my sibling think? What will the society feel about this? So you're emotionally giving importance only to your feelings and not to your logical thinking. There's two set of people. One think based on logical analysis and the other think on the emotional basis. So this is exactly wrong. You should not go with either of one side. Combine this two together and decide on the basis of what your mind and your heart tells you to do. Don't decide on any one aspect. What happens as a long run, your mind or your heart will reject the decision which you have taken. Then you'll end up deciding the wrong thing. So don't go with that. Just involve your mind and your heart when you're deciding something in your life. Okay, now let me give you an example of what I mean by logical and emotional aspect in decision making. If a girl wants to marry a boy, okay, so if she decides from the logical side that she sees his status, sees what is his salary, what is his financial background, and what is his professional status and all this, and she decides from a logical basis. And if she omits the emotional basis, that is, will she be happy with a person who is having this nature, this character, will make a difference. If she decides only on his salary and his financial status and all the logical informations, she will not be happy in her marriage life. She may end up not liking the person in the long run because he cannot satisfy her emotional needs. Okay. Similarly, if a person or a girl decides on the basis of emotional thing and she is not seeing the financial side or the logical side of a person, again she is taking the wrong decision. So always combine this together. See that both this sync together when you take a decision. That's very important. Now let's move on to the fourth step, that is third party thinking or objective thinking. Now what do we mean by objective thinking? There are two types of thinking, that is subjective and objective. Subjective is thinking from my point of view, that is thinking very personally, and objective is thinking from the third person, that is something other than us. Okay, thinking from their point of view, it's called as third party thinking. Now in decision making, when if somebody approaches me and asks me, what should I do for this issue, can you help me out, Praveena? And I'll be like giving them lectures, do this, do that, try this, it is good for you, go this way, go that way. But when the actual problem comes to me, I'll be totally different, because at that perspective I start thinking like I have to think about my parents, I have to think about my family, my kids and all. So my decision making is like more constrained and it's subjective. I put more of emotions to that. But objective thinking is very useful in decision making because you make the right decision at that time. So when you have a problem, don't put yourself in the subjective plate, put yourself in the objective. Think about some third person, maybe some personalities like Obama or whoever you like, whoever you admire. Just put yourself into that position and think that if he was in your situation, what could you do? What could he do? So that will help you to make good decisions. So putting yourself in the shoes of a third person and taking decision for yourself will help you a lot in making the right decision. So always follow the step of thinking objectively and think from the third person point of view. That is going to help you in a good decision making. Now let's move on to the fifth step, that is asking questions to yourself. What questions are you going to ask to yourself? 3 questions. The first one is, what is your life goal? The second one is, what are the pros and cons of each decision or each conflicting idea you have? The third one is, how will you face the consequences or challenges which you're going to come across? So let me explain the 3 questions very simply. What is your life goal? Life goal, decision making should always go in touch with the life goal, what you want to achieve in life, based on which you have to make your decisions. For example, if you want to become a doctor, you cannot go for a computer training or engineering training. You have to go for a professional related training. The same way, the decisions that you take should always go in line with your life goals. That is very important. So have a clear idea of what you want to achieve in your life. The second question is, what are the pros and cons of each decision? Like you have two options left with you. You want to decide number 1 or number 2. So just write down what are the pros, what are the advantages if you go with the decision of number 1. What are the disadvantages if you go with the decision of number 1? Similarly, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the decision 2? So when you have a clear picture before you, like this is what is going to happen if I take this decision, and this is how it's going to happen when I take other decision. You have a very clear picture based on which you can weigh yourself. You can see that which one suits your life goal better, and you can go for that decision. So that's why I ask you to go for the second question. The final question is, if at all you have written all the consequences or disadvantages that you're going to come across each decision. Now think, how will you face that situation? If at all I face these consequences of, if I'm going to start a business and I'm going to have a loss, how I'm going to financially support myself? That is a question. So you prepare mentally yourself for each failure that you're going to come across in the decision making. That is your third step. So always remember to ask 3 questions to yourself. What is your life goal? What are the pros and cons of each decisions you're going to make, and how you're going to face the challenges or consequences that you're going to come across. So when you're prepared mentally, it's not like you have to write it down everything in paper. It's not compulsory. It's your comfort zone. If you feel comfortable writing down, that's the best way. And if you're not comfortable, just go through a mental picture, take your time, sit and imagine and answer all these questions, and then you'll be able to get a very clear idea about your decision making. Next, we are going to see a 6th step, that is testing your decisions. Okay, how could I put that? It's like test drive. Okay, basically in the last step we have decided on, we have analyzed on each decision. So after analyzing, you have ultimately ended up like, this is what I'm going to do. If you have decided that, just give yourself some time to mentally work on the decision. That is, you can sit back and relax and think, if at all, if you decide on this, how your life will be. Imagine yourself in another 1 year, other 5 years, other 10 years, how your life change is going to happen. If you have a mental picture of how this decision is going to affect your life, it is easy for you to go with that. Now you're prepared, positively, negatively, you're prepared for whatever is going to come out of the decision. So you have a test drive. Just give your time and test yourself on the decision making. That is one thing. The other thing is, like if the test drive can be a little more extensive, like if you want to switch your profession from one job to another job, if you want to try something new, instead of directly quitting your job and getting into a new job, why don't you give yourself some test and joining some coaching classes related to the profession you want to go in. So when you go for the coaching classes, it gives you an idea of whether it is the right choice for you, it is a good decision which you have made. So it helps you a lot. So always go for a test drive, very short period of test drive before you make the final decision. Now let's move on to the 7th step, that is putting your decision into action. That is the most important thing out of all this. Whatever you have decided, just put it to action. Don't think that, don't imagine too much like what is going to happen. If you hold yourself from doing that action, there's no point in decision making then. You have to put it into action. Just do the action. Don't wait for the ultimate result or goal to be achieved in few days. Now, some goals can be achieved in months, some maybe in years, some in maybe a decade, 10 years later. So don't always focus only on the life goal and do everything. Do your task completely with dedication, hard work, and ultimately definitely you'll reach your long-term goal. Here are the 8 decision making skills or steps which I have listed down for you to make a right decision. So you can just follow them. No, and it is not like compulsory for you to go step by step and to follow all this according to the rules and all that. No, points just for your convenience. You can pick up any one and try that out. It's always a trial and error. Nothing is going to work 100% for everyone. So whatever is comfortable, just take that, try that, and use it for your life goals to be achieved. That's very important. The purpose of this video is not to make you follow these steps, but make you understand the importance of decision making. The best decisions shape your life much more better than what you're currently. So always have this on mind, that my decision making shapes my life, and make good decisions in your life. Finally, I have given a scenario or a situation in the comment box where you can put your own decision, whatever you're going to decide if you face a situation. And you can obviously see there are a lot of people coming with new ideas, because as I told you in the beginning, each individual is different and each situation is different. So the opinions and decisions making is individualized. So keep practicing the decision making skills till you succeed in your life. Take care. Bye.